Hey, Michael, I've got one Monty Python question before we talk about the movie.
Sure.
Do you still have people come up to you and start doing lines or reenacting skits from the
Oh,
TV show?
sure, sure. People will come up, and they're not just people of my age. They're not very old people. They're quite young people will come up and say, "Hey, I can't believe it," you know. And I think these are people who probably only born when Wanda was being made, and they know, the silly walks, and they know the Spanish Inquisition and all that. These are 13-year-olds. I think, what are they doing with their lives? So yes, it does happen still.
Well, how do you react when that happens? Does it throw you sometimes?
I just grab their money and run. I say thank you. No, I'm very pleased. Very pleased on the whole. Although, I mean, I find that quite hard to remember some of the Python material that we did. But it gets recycled in America much more than it does in the UK because you've got Comedy Central and you've got a lot of other stations here. So Python seems to be always on the go here somewhere. And people seem to have an appetite for it. So that's fine by me.
Well, skipping forward to A Fish Called Wanda, a few years ago I interviewed Kevin Kline, and he said his feeling was when you made the film that it wasn't going to be a big hit, it was going to be more of an art house film. What was your feeling? Did you see the box office potential there?
No, I never have any hopes for anything I do, until they've happened. I think it's very, very hard to say, that's the audience out there, this is who we're going for. All you want to do is just get it right. I had the feeling that Wanda was a small-scale adventure heist comedy. It didn't have the sort of scale of big epic Hollywood hits or anything like that. So I was surprised, yeah, I was very, very surprised. It was such a sort of popular hit everywhere. I mean, not just in the States, but also right across the world. But yeah, I think I too felt this is going to work in to a sort of Python audience, which is not a big audience, but it's a very, very loyal and a very intensely, sort of loyal audience.
Well, turning to A Fierce Creatures, what was the odor level on this film compared to other movies you worked on?
The odor level. I tell you, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad in some of these, especially when you're in a bee costume as well. Somehow it's your own odor mingles with the odor of animals from all over the world. But the insect house, I have to tell you, was clean as a whistle. That was just fresh air. It was beautiful in there. I go in the insect house because they don't smell, you see.
Now
they itch, but they don't smell.
It seems like you're getting like the short stick in these movies, and that John Cleese, gets to do love scenes with Jamie Lee Curtis, and your character seems kind of asexual in these films.
Well, I can't. John writes the script. He has to work out these sort of things, And I think Jamie and I got on so well in A Fish Called Wanda. He was determined not to let me anywhere near her on this movie. No, I was very sad that we didn't even get to have a kiss, which of course we did in Wanda. But that's the way it is, really.
Now, well, another question about Fish Called Wanda. I mean, some of the black humor, like with the dog's getting, the accent.
Yeah.
Did you have people coming up to you who were upset by those scenes at all?
No, most people seem to find them hysterically funny. I mean, dog lovers didn't come up to me, I have to say. They didn't come up and say, look, will you squash a few more Yorkshire Terriers for me? But they didn't get at me particularly. I think because, the thing about Ken in Wanda was he was very unhappy about doing it. He was mortified. He loved dogs, which is a very clever twist of John's, to make the man who kill the thing you love sort of idea.
Well, the stuttering thing, I remember Kevin Kline telling a story about how when they showed the movie once on network television, they had cut out the stuttering because they were worried about offending people. I mean,
God damn, I'm done for, aren't I? It's like sort of, yes, reducing Richard III to, sort of Richard I. Cut out two of them,
Now, a question about your travels. You've traveled all over the world now, and always been fascinated when people take interesting airline flights.
Yeah.
What have been some of the more unique airline flights that you've taken in your life?
Well, the two just that stick out a mile are the flights, one to the North Pole and one to the South Pole, because as you get nearer to really dangerous places, so the equipment gets correspondingly less efficient, and the planes that fly to really dangerous places, like the poles, are just, one engine. This one-engine plane took us to the South Pole. And you're up there, and you know that there's nowhere to land down below. You've just got to get to the single airstrip at the pole, and that's that. Otherwise, you're out. So those are two. I got very, very sweaty palm on a couple of those trips. Absolutely.
Now, do people recognize you in those faraway locations? Are you surprised how widely famous you are?
I was recognized at the South Pole. That was unbelievable because we landed and it's completely bleak and you have to go down underneath the ice to get to this little place run by, I have to say, by the Americans. And I go in there and someone says to me, "Hey, Michael Palin," which is like, if I imagine that had happened to Captain Scott, he got there eventually. "Hey, Captain Scott, where have you been?" So that, people did, they recognized me from a series called Ripping Yarns too, which I made a very long time ago.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
pleasure.
Those are great stories.
Pleasure.